Alright, that's the Husqvarna 190cc all-wheel drive self-propelled mower. I'm going to give a review of it. Anyway, Anyway, as far as putting it together, real freaking simple. First grader could probably do it. It's not hard. Then you got the first start, which was phenomenal. Not even half a pull, and it was ready to go. Subsequent starts, it got harder to restart pretty much each time. I mean, there was still only one pull if you actually pulled it. A couple of times I tried to kind of lightly pull it just because it was so easy to start the first time. But didn't want to start real well that way. But you know, end of the day, I probably restarted it 5-6 times, and it was still one pull. Time will tell, though. I think it's going to continue to get harder to start. As far as mowing goes, I mean, came with mulching blades. They seemed pretty sharp. I mean, not as sharp as they could have been, but I guess they don't want people to cut their fingers or whatever. They did a fairly good job to cut. Striping wise, it actually, I mean, it has that little flap behind it that kind of lays the grass down a little bit. So I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being like ballpark stripes, it's probably a 1.5. You could see them, but not real well. Of course, again, if you mow it the same way every week, or if the grass was a little thicker, it'd probably stripe better. So, my grass is pretty thin. It's pretty much shade grass. Hoping by removing some of these trees, I hope I can get some good grass in here to actually get a decent stripe. But let's see. As far as the self-propelled goes, I mean, it's got 2 levers. I assumed it was one for each side, but there's only one cable connecting them. So had I seen that, I probably would have known it wasn't one for each side. I mean, if you pull the right one down to try to turn right, you're going to continue to go straight. If you pull the left one down to try to turn left, you're going to continue to go straight. So as far as that goes, I think I was kind of unhappy with that. I think they could have put 2 cables on it, put the drive for each side. I mean, if you're going to put 2 handles on it, 2 controls on it, just go ahead and put 2 cables and let each one control that side. But whatever. Wasn't the greatest experience with that. I was really kind of upset because you have to still manually turn it. Not that that's that big of a deal. It's just, with the self-propelled mowers, you're a little heavier, so it takes a little more effort. There's no reverse on it. I mean, I kind of expected that for $400, for there not to be any reverse. Would have been nice, I mean, to push out and have it go backwards. It shouldn't cost that much more to add that feature. So, I mean, it's probably only like what, $5 difference in what the price would cost them. So at that point, they might as well just add it and add an extra $10 to it. But anyway, it is what it is. As far as cleanup goes, it gets cleaned up real nice. It has a port on it to put your hose on and turn the hose on and let it clean underneath the deck. I didn't check underneath the deck to see if it actually did anything. I mean, I saw some stuff come out. Grass wasn't real wet, so it shouldn't have stuck to the inside a whole lot. Just basically knocked the dust off. As far as for mowing, it probably needs a blade disengage. That way you can walk across something you've already mowed and not screw up what little bit of stripes you got. Again, that's probably $5 worth of parts that they could have put on there to have a blade disengage. But there again, whatever. As far as the price goes, I think it was actually only $350 because it was on sale. It was regular $400. For a $400 price tag, I don't think it's worth the $400. It might be worth $250, $300. So if you can find it on sale for about that price, I think it's a decent buy for that price. I mean, you can buy a regular mower, push mower for $200, a decent one. I mean, not a great one, but a decent one. So extra $50 to $100. That's really all the mower it has on it. It's a real simple setup the way it is. You can actually probably do it yourself pretty cheaply. And then of course they buy in bulk, so they get all their stuff cheap. Anyway, that's my review of the Husqvarna 190cc all-wheel drive. Oh yeah, that's the all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive only works if all four wheels are on the ground. If you lose one wheel off the ground, it doesn't really want to move. It doesn't matter what wheel it is, it just doesn't want to move. Or at least not like it should. You have to push a little bit. So if you got level ground, great. There was something else with that. When it gets wet, which I kind of figured when I first looked at it, if it gets wet, it doesn't want to drive. It doesn't want to go forward very well. So definitely make sure your grass is dry before you mow. With the fence, you know, like 3 or 4 feet beside the fence, it was wet because the sun hadn't got to it to dry it yet. So I had a little bit of a problem with that. It wasn't a huge problem. Just something to expect, that you're going to have to push a little bit just to keep it moving. Anyway, that's my review of it. All in all, I'm fairly happy with it. I miss my rider, but maybe one of these days we'll go get me a new one. Anyway, bye.